Good morning. My name is Zanaya Meachem. I'm currently an 11th grader at KIPP North Collegiate Academy. I've been on the girls varsity volleyball team for 2 years. I was currently inducted in the National Honor Society, maintaining a 4.5 GPA, which I'm happy to be a part of. I also want to pursue a career in adult medicine as to why I'm passionate about helping others. I was asked by Pastor Branch to conduct this interview for today. So I have a few questions to ask. So let's begin by introducing yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be part of this program for Black History Month. My name is James Harris. I am a father of 2 daughters, both of whom are college graduates. I'm married to Justine Harris for 51 years. I met her in high school. We were married at Mount Calvary. Our daughters were Christian at Mount Calvary. So I'm deeply committed to the leadership and the foundation of the church. I served 8 years as the president of the New Jersey State Conference of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, an organization that's 114 years old as of February 12th. I also serve now as the president of the New Jersey Association of Black Educators, which is a statewide organization. Our primary focus is trying to get equity and excellence for Black people in education. So, and I live in Montclair, and try every day to be helpful.
My first question is, how did you become interested in civil rights?
I got interested in civil rights because when I was at Southside High School, Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. John Kennedy was assassinated. And those 2 things just made me aware and made me very concerned because Dr. Martin Luther King was practicing nonviolence. Malcolm X was talking about self-defense. So I figured when Dr. King was assassinated that something needed to be done to try to get equal rights because he fought so hard to try to get people voting rights, equal rights, and human dignity and human rights. So I got pulled into that because of that.
Who was the most influential person on your civil rights journey?
Dr. King had to be very, very important. But I do say that Malcolm X was on the other side of that because what Malcolm X was saying was so passionate and so clearly stated. But Dr. King was a person who was very well educated. He was very articulate. And when you listen to Dr. King, you just agreed so much with what he said and how he said it and what he thought human beings should be toward each other. I was very impressed with that. Today, I see Derek Johnson, who's the president of the NAACP, Reverend Sharpton, obviously, and Jesse Jackson has had a really, really big influence as well. And locally, Sharp James and Donald Tucker has been people who influenced me.
My next question is, what do you think of civil rights today?
I think civil rights today is challenged. I think we are in a country that is very divided as a result of 8 years of President Barack Obama and his family living in the White House, followed by 4 years of a person who obviously has some serious maladjustment, who showed hatred and disrespect for law and order. And so this country is divided. And I thought we had made a lot more progress, but now I see that the civil rights movement is about bringing people together and making sure that we hold on to those things that we fought so hard to accomplish.
Also, what can we do to make a difference?
The thing that we can do to make a difference is we have to be involved. We have to care about other people. We have to work real hard to make sure that people are treated equally, they're treated fairly, and that we're not victims of our own laziness. And I say laziness because, we fought very hard for the right of people to vote. And I'm disappointed when I see people not voting. We fought very hard for children to have an equal education. But then I see parents who don't go to school and they don't seem to support what the teachers are trying to do to teach their children. And then I see young people going to school and they're not taking books, they're taking basketballs and guns and knives. That's not what we fought for. That we're better than that. So I think that's the challenge that we have. And we just have to keep working at it. But I do believe that those of us who have knowledge have a responsibility to share our knowledge with other people who may not be as fortunate as we are.
My next question is, what do you think the future is of the movement?
The future of the movement is completely dependent upon how we can get people to understand where we are and where we want to go as a human race. There's a lot of division in our country right now around race, around gender, and this is all over the world. There's a whole divide about religion. We have the Catholics, we have the Baptists, we have the Muslims, we have the Sikhs. But we're all human beings, and we ought to respect each other's religion and do to others as we would have them do unto us. But I think the civil rights movement is in a healthy place because all of these things make people aware of where we are and where we need to go. Everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants to be profitable. Everybody wants to be successful in whatever their interests are.
So do you think it's still necessary to fight for equal rights?
If you don't fight for your rights, you lose them. I believe that. Frederick Douglass said very clearly that power concedes nothing without a struggle. It never has and it never will. So if we don't fight for those things that we know we're entitled to as human beings, decent housing, a safe place to live, food and shelter, those things could be lost. And the history of humankind, and I don't say mankind because women are part of the human race as well, but the whole thrust of humankind is to have those things like food, shelter, safety, love, affection, and stuff like that. And we have to fight for those things because that's who we are as human beings.
So who do you think some of the leading voices are today?
The leading voices today, obviously, is Reverend Sharpton, since he has a radio station every week. He's on television every week. But we also have some local leaders. Reverend Ralph Branch is a leader. I mean, he was the moderator. He's still very involved. We have people like Barack Obama. Those are names that people relate to. Ben Crump. Ben shows up and he has a voice and people listen to him. But I think the day when we can identify one person that can galvanize all of the people, that day is gone. So we have to look at local and state as well as national and international leaders.
By closing off today, is there any advice you can give to the young generation today on how we can make a difference?
Yes. The message that I would want young people to have is that realize that your adults want the best for you. Parents are not telling their kids to do things that will hurt them. Every parent wants their child to be successful, to be safe, and to be well-adjusted human beings. So my advice is get involved, show people that you care, but be willing to give of your own time, resources to support those things that you think needs to be done. It's a we thing. It's not a they thing. It's not a them thing. We can accomplish a lot if we work together. But if we leave it to just a few people, then we will miss the opportunity. I can't emphasize how important it is for people to be politically involved. We live in a democracy. In a democracy, it's expected that you will elect people who will represent your interests. If you don't vote for a person, you didn't help them get elected, and it's very likely that they're not going to help you get what you want. It's important for us to communicate to our elected leaders. I mean, we have a mayor, we have a city council, we have freeholders, we have a county executive, we have legislators in the state level, we have the Senate, and we have people in Congress. We have a mayor, we have a governor, we have a lieutenant governor. If we don't communicate with those people, how do they know what we want? And if they don't know what we want, they're going to give things to people who ask them. So I think it's very important that we ask people what we want them to do and then hold them accountable, follow up. We had this guy who was down at the Penn Station. He was having a problem. Did we find a place for him? Did we get him some help? Because that person in Penn Station is somebody's son. That's somebody's, daughter. But we need to be concerned so that we don't let people not address those things that we are concerned and care about. And I think that's my message through all of history, and we ought to read history. We ought to understand history, but it's not just a passive thing. You have to be involved in your community. You have to be involved in your family, and you have to work to make sure that people are safe and that they have opportunities that are equal. And when people are not as informed as we are, then it's our responsibility to share our knowledge so that they can enjoy some of the same things that we have access to.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Harris, for such a great interview and insight about your movement and contribution to helping others fight for social justice.
Thank you. I intend to see you on television. I can see that you're going to be Oprah Winfrey or Whoopi Goldberg, and I hope that you will be very successful in your pursuits.
Thank you.
What we do in civil rights is all about making things better for you in the future. So thank you very much for this opportunity.